So, waiting for Godot. I tried to set this up a little bit for you on the first day of class when I told you that shaggy dog joke. And in a way, this play is one one long shaggy dog joke. However, that might lead to the response that I wouldn't listen to a shaggy dog joke for an hour and a half. I definitely wouldn't come back from intermission if you gave me one. So it has to be more than just a shaggy dog joke, right? But that is part of what it is. Let me throw another piece of jargon at you. There's something called theater of the absurd, which came in the 20th century, and I think Waiting for Godot counts as a maybe the great exemplar of this. And by absurd, I think what they mean by that term is exploring meaninglessness. Now that again, I might not be selling you on reading the play so well, or going to see the play, but one of the things that got explored, maybe a way to talk about it is through the idea of postmodernism. Virtually all of the art forms went through a spell of postmodernism in the 20th century. And postmodernism did a lot of exploring of the absurd, whether it was in painting. If you think of something like Andy Warhol's Campbell soup cans, or in the visual arts, or poetry that it really wasn't easy to know what the heck it was talking about, or same thing happened with novels, something like Finnegan's Wake, by James Joyce, or this kind of play. And by the way, Samuel Beckett wrote some pretty absurdist novels. Personally, I haven't gotten through them. I can get through his plays. I can feel something when I watch his plays. I never was able to get into his novels. Gertrude Stein is sometimes associated with this stuff. I'll give you one more example from music, from classical music. John Cage wrote a piano piece called 4 minutes 33 seconds, in which the pianist comes into the concert hall and sits down at a grand piano and sits there without playing a note or saying a word or making a sound for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. That is an absurdist thing to do in that medium. So why does anybody do stuff like that? I think what they're doing is they're trying to make the audience deal with their assumptions. We have an assumption that if somebody comes out to play the piano, they're going to sit down there and they're going to play the freaking piano, and it'll sound like things, and there'll be a melodic line, and there'll be a structure to it, and it'll rise to a climax maybe, or it'll convey a mood. It'll do what we expect pieces of music to do. If we read a novel, we expect there to be a plot and a storyline and a sense of narrative tension, and that we expect all that. We take these things for granted when we when we pick up a novel. That if we look at a picture, we expect it to, I don't know, present some sort of reality somehow, even if it's a very metaphorical reality. Now I think Waiting for Godot does present a reality, a very metaphorical reality, but we'll come back to that. Anyway, the idea of this sort of artwork, the same way a shaggy dog joke makes you deal with your assumptions about a joke, right? You assume somebody starts telling you a joke, it's going to build up to a punchline, and the punchline's supposed to be funny. And a shaggy dog joke messes with you by refusing to give you what you automatically expect. Well, Waiting for Godot does something like that with a play. We expect something to happen in a play. We expect things to change. We expect the characters to be changed by the events of the play. There to be some kind of character arc. Every other play we've read this semester did that, right? Willy Loman is different at the end than he is at the beginning. So is Oedipus. So is King Lear. So is So are George and Martha in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. So are Jack and Anne in Man and Superman. They all change because things happen to them to force them to change, and something about that change feels like it's meaningful. Waiting for Godot, you get this feeling nothing's going to change because these guys are stuck. What are they doing? They're waiting. And you kind of don't get too optimistic about their chances of having Godot come, or even if he did come, that it would change things. So, this is the thing with theater, the absurd. It takes our assumptions, and by refusing to give us what we expect, it makes us reflect on our assumptions. And one of the things in a play is the idea that life has drama and importance. Things happen to people that are dramatic and important and change them. And if you stop and think about it, there are actually a lot of lives that aren't like that, where it's not like dramatic, important things happen to, or is it? Maybe things that don't look dramatic and important to other people feel dramatic and important to the person undergoing them. But that assumption gets called into question by the whole play. And then there's something else too. This play has a very strong mood. Because if life isn't dramatic and important, there's a sadness to that. We want it to be dramatic and important. And if it isn't, if it's just the same damn thing again and again, and that's a very pessimistic statement, isn't it? There's something depressed about this play. But depression depicted in this weird, antic, vaudeville, pratfall, Three Stooges-y kind of way. I don't know. I know I'm not exactly making this play sound, I'm not selling it. But I've also had people say this play really got to them, really reverberated for them, was funnier than they thought. Don't lose track of the comedy. There is a lot of clowning in this play. And I think it does something to you as an audience member. It does something to you emotionally that is unique. And that's why I signed it to you. I will be interested to see how you react.